In 1858, the quiet town of Bradford, England was rocked by a horrifying event. On the morning of November 17, 1858, a man named William Hardaker set up his stall in the market. He was selling penny sweets, a popular treat amongst the town's children. Within hours, children began to fall ill. Vomiting, convulsions, and in some cases, death. Doctors were called, but it was too late for many. In total, 200 people were poisoned, and 20 others had died. How could such a horrific event happen? For one, in the Victorian era, there were few laws protecting consumers from harmful products. Second, there were a lot of mistakes made with a lack of oversight. William Hardaker, the stall operator, purchased candy from Joseph Neal. As the sugar was relatively expensive because of the sugar tax, Neal would substitute some of the sugar with daft. The historical mixture of daft was made of powdered gypsum mixed together with gum and sugar. As strange as that sounds, the use of adulterants wasn't all that uncommon. During the Victorian era, gypsum, or chalk, was also used as one of the ingredients in white bread. Neal ran out of daft, so he asked his lodger, James Archer, to go to the drugstore and get some. The druggist normally on duty was Charles Hodgson, but he was sick that day. His assistant, who had only been working at the job for a few weeks, was on duty. The assistant was told the daft was in the attic. He took 12 pounds of powder from one of the two identical barrels next to each other. What he did not realize was that he had taken powder from the barrel that had the arsenic trioxide in it. To make matters worse, the barrel contents were labeled on the bottom of it. Unless the assistant turned the barrel over, he had no way to know what the barrel contents were. Neal and his assistant noticed that the new batch of sweets was darker in color and was more plastic or free-flowing than normal. Both men fell sick from contact with the candy but did not make the connection. Hardaker also noticed the darker color from the batches he normally bought. After eating a few of the candies, Hardaker felt sick too and left his assistant in charge of the stall. When the stall closed, about 1,000 sweets had been sold. What happened next? Continued in Part 2. By Sunday, the police were informed of several deaths. At first, it was thought to be cholera since the symptoms were similar to that of arsenic poisoning. The police eventually made the connection between the deaths and the sweets and seized the remaining stock of candy from Hardaker. The police and bellmen then went out around town to spread the warning about the candy. Dr. John Henry Bell hypothesized the poisonings of his patients were caused by arsenic. He was proven right when the sample of the candy he sent to a chemist tested positive for the poison. It was estimated that each sweet contained 9 grains of arsenic. 4.5 grains were sufficient to kill an adult male. The police took into custody 3 men. Neal, who was the candy maker, Hodgson, who was the druggist, and Goddard, the druggist's assistant. All 3 had the charges dropped against them. Neal was not present when the arsenic was purchased and was not around when the candy was made. Goddard was only following the instructions of his master. As for Hodgson, after hearing some of the evidence, the judge stopped the trial and ordered the jury to find him innocent. As a result, the Adulteration of Food or Drink Act of 1860 was passed into law. However, critics pointed out that the law was next to useless because it only applied when adulterated food was being passed off as pure and the penalty for breaching it was only 5 pounds, which was way too low to act as a deterrent. Since then, strong food safety laws were put into place. In 1868, the UK passed the Pharmacy Act, regulating the selling and handling of poisons. And in 1874, the sugar tax was abolished, making it much cheaper to afford.